Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dan around Yaks Ben, and we have a fantastic show for you. Build templates are out and are, of course, causing an uproar, not surprising. An article about how mounts are made, and episode 1 of the new Living Story Season 5 has been teased, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, are the build templates good enough to finally delete Thief? Well, just his extra thieves. Baby steps and all. Say hello to H.
Wait a minute. I saw that. And no.
What?
Oh, they're not.
Come on. Live a little. But also, she is the glue over at Virtually Interrupted as the social media manager. And you can check her out streaming over on Twitch at Inky Sticks. But the most challenging hurdle, getting Aaron to raid. Say hello to our special guest, Miko.
Hey guys, it's very true.
I'm still shocked.
Well, I did get him to raid for a little bit, and then he quit on me again. Feels bad.
Well, then he quit everything. So
he did.
Look what raiding has done.
I know. We broke Aaron.
That should be like the Reddit headline. It turned someone into an elitist. See, that's why raids are bad, right? Anyway.
He was like, I literally can't with this game mode. I was like, all right, it's fine, man.
But let's not waste time talking about raiding and being elitist. There's a lot more things people are complaining about. But first, let's get to a little bit of the good news. We were going to cover a little bit later the Extra Life 2019 stream, which we'll get to how they ended up doing, but they did show us a little teaser at the end, which just a little bit of warning because I had to grab the highlight at the last minute. It would not let me mute it, but so there'll be a little bit of static noise, but we'll only play it like once or twice. That way you could still hear people. But yeah, it is the little teaser image they had for the new episode. It is, as you can see here, it's going to be titled Whispers in the Dark. And it'll be November 19th. And all it says on there is the Bone Skinner is coming. And as you can see behind it, it looks like a creature, which I would assume the Bone Skinner is coming towards you. So let me mute this real quick. And there was other art there, which that's what we'll probably keep up for people's ears and sanity. But yeah, so they dropped that little bit of knowledge there. So November 19th, which of course is a Tuesday in what? 3 weeks?
Yeah, before Thanksgiving. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart choice. Before everyone disappears for turkey.
But
not everyone.
Well, no, not everyone, but a chunk of people for like a day.
That's pretty cool.
I like the concept art.
Yeah, the concept art is really interesting.
I like that poor Bram, he's sporting his hammer now, it looks like. Or is that his mace? No, that should be his hammer.
That's his mace.
Why is he not carrying his mace on his side like players do?
He's special.
Concept art is usually never accurate, but yeah, that does, unless he has now a two-handed hammer version of his mace.
So I guess we're going to be focusing on Bram then, maybe, with this. I mean, he did have his bow stolen. So,
but which, yeah, in case if you aren't,
was that a
somehow trying. Well, I was going to say at this point, it's been quite a while. If you haven't played the epilogue yet, we're not going to try to shield you from the spoilers from it.
Yeah.
Sorry, prologue. Thank you for saving me. I'm sure the internet would have been like in the comments,
what
you are full. Doing?
Yeah.
I already want this to be over with. No, I'm kidding.
He does have his hair again. Yep.
But yeah, it is kind of interesting because it seems like he's like in a almost cyclone looking thing or like a tornado looking thing, but these like hands and stuff coming out. And
I kind of figure it's more, I mean, it is the Icebrood Saga, so we're going to go more into Jormag territory further north, more blizzards, more Norny Shiver Peak stuff. And then the Bone Skinner, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that one of the things they teased out during that live show announcement?
They showed
as one
some
of the strike
concept art
missions?
of it, like, yeah.
So another strike mission then.
Well, I thought the strike mission was
Perhaps.
supposed to just build upon itself. Like,
But
I
there was
thought it
supposed to be like
just
another one. Because I know that the Drakkar Lake.
Yeah, Drakkar is supposed to be the world boss, supposedly, or the next hard, challenging boss.
Yeah.
Okay, Chad is saying that. Okay, it's gonna be the strike mission.
Okay. I would like to. I'm looking forward to how they can improve the difficulty of the strike missions. Because if you have more currently, I think you guys have talked about it. I know we've talked about it. That currently it's pretty easy if you go in with a group. It tends to be more challenging if you low man it a little bit.
And yeah, I know we've talked about that in the past, and I think that's one of the things I'm hoping for is maybe by the end, because they say it's supposed to evolve. Hopefully by the end of the evolution, it's like I would say probably equal to some of the first raid encounters you're dealing with, because they did try to coin this as like this is supposed to be help bridge the gap between non-raiders that want to maybe get into raiding.
Yeah.
Because I know that has been a big complaint with the one that we currently have is it is very easy. It's
it's currently pretty easy.
I know we said I know I brought in the past, which I'm afraid they won't do because of the whole of living story, things change forever, and they're going to run into the same issue. Is by the end of this, if they just have a regular raid encounter boss, people are still going to feel like hopefully if someone's nervous about going in, they can personally be like, well, I just want to run it at tier 1, which is what we have now, and then the tier 7, which is the fully.
I'm pretty sure that'll stay.
Hopefully.
I think especially if since they've introduced the public, which is basically like LFG mode.
Yeah.
Then people can choose. I'm hoping that that's what they'll do. That they'll allow people to choose whatever mode or of difficulty that they want. I mean, they kind of teased it out a bit with the sort of the Dragon Bash 5-man thingy that you could do and just keep going, and it would get a little bit progressively more difficult. So hopefully they'll just keep building on that. Because I think it does teach, if you can go in low man it, you can start learning and start figuring out some of the mechanics that when you're in a group, you can pretty much ignore because you are pumping out mitigation and you're not necessarily always seeing what mechanics you're actually mitigating. But when you low man it, you kind of start seeing them. Oh, okay, this is going on. I need to do this over here. So if they just continue building on that, I think one of the things that this game does pretty well, I've always thought, is that it does teach players mechanics relatively well. Whether or not players then take those experiences and start looking for those more challenging encounters in other parts of the game is another thing altogether.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think in a way back, one of our former co-hosts actually hated this aspect, but I personally praised him. It was the living story mission where you're going into Glint's lair, and it's basically the one where it's like the first fight teaches you one of the bits of the encounter, the next one's like, you're basically getting the right colored aspects or something, and it's using it different ways, and then the last fight is kind of all of it together. And you kind of see that with what was it, the first raid wing, with as you lead up to the Guardians, it basically teaches you each of the colors, and then so yeah, I think they do a decent job, more so than most games, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the raid wings themselves have mechanics that they just build on each other, and they've done a pretty good job, I think, of then reusing those mechanic teaching moments out in the world, or even some of the same mechanics out in the world. So I'll tell raiders, if you're not having an easy time seeing this mechanic here, go to X place. You'll see the same mechanic out in the open world. The difficulty will be a little bit lesser, but you'll actually be able to hopefully see it and get used to it before you come back in next week or whenever to try it out. So it's good. But I'm a big open worlder. I mean, I'm like strict PvEer. I don't do the PvP modes. I don't play much PvP, and I dub to
When you have to.
a greater extent than PvP, but which is not very much. And I usually all go in with a Zerg or on a guild that I pal around with. So
Well, everybody knows I'm a pro hardcore PvP player. I just can't get enough of it. I'm probably right in the same boat with you. Is PvP is at an all-time minimum for myself, and World v. World is above that. But as we were saying during pre-show, which you should show up early if you want to just hang out and chit-chat. Basically, the PvP for me is Subway. Quiznos is, or World v. World is our Quiznos, which we'll if you're wondering why we're talking about that, we'll get to it. But yeah, it's. I mean, I think we'll talk later about some PvP and World v. World stuff as well, but if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and I just see chat talking about the build template stuff. We'll probably delve into the amount of build templates and stuff in a little bit later, but yeah, I'm hopeful for what's going to come, but I'm curious about the title Whisper in the Dark. Where do you guys think that's going to go?
I mean, they played up a lot with the teasers before the prologue dropped, and Jormag whispering into people's heads. That's how he operates. So I kind of think this is just more Jormag trying to get into people's win over their hearts and minds by his little whispering persuasions.
I mean, Mordremoth did it with.
Mordremoth did it as well.
So it makes sense.
You can submit to Jormag's whispers. Yeah, okay. If you really want to, Josh.
Unfortunately, I don't think that'll ever be an open option, but yeah, Whispers in the Dark. I think it's going to easily be something to do with that, since we have seen it played a little bit with, and maybe since it is focusing more on Norn culture, maybe we'll see it through the eyes of Bram.
Mm-hmm.
Being like maybe hearing those whispers, because I'm waiting to see something like maybe it mocking him for failing to take him out type thing, because it's like you failed. You were supposed to lead the charge for the Norn, and you basically failed, and I don't know. Part of me wants to make him relive. What was the home instance? The Crag, was it Kragstad or something? That little home instance during Flame and Frost. Yeah, like maybe somehow make him relive that moment or something.
That was a good instance for those of you who played season 1 and got to play that. Those 2 weeks, that Kragstad, the fighting in there was fun.
That's true.
And if you go in, it's been a while since I've gone in, but I occasionally will go in, and it's like that little village tells the story of them recovering after having that Flame and Frost encounter. So it would be neat to see him kind of re-engage with the Norn culture, since he's been pretty much palling around with the commander and Rox, except she's gone now. But yeah, just to see him getting reconnected and seeing how the Norn respond to him as well, I think. Because they started talking about how the Norn see him as failing since he didn't take Jormag out after cracking the tooth.
Yeah.
And that was all told off camera. So I would like to see, why are the Norn, like, how are they going to respond to him now that he's lost his mother's bow?
Yeah, he's doing pretty rough.
Got
that's why I
tricked by a
think they're gonna like
chart, yeah.
really prey on him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, is he gonna become a villain by the end of the season? Is he gonna be corrupted and we're gonna have to take him out? Are we gonna be responsible for basically removing this whole family from the Tyrion universe? Like,
I would hope not. I was really sad when Air died in Heart of
Yeah.
Thorns. But I think that having him be redeemed in some way would be good. I mean, he did a good job after he pissed everyone off with throwing his temper tantrum in Bitterfrost.
mm-hmm. I don't know. For some reason, that popped into my head, which was like, yeah, he's on such a downward spiral that maybe Jormag will make sense. Be like, do you want real power? Join us.
Right.
And blah blah blah. And
I think that's fair. That would be a good way to try and tempt him.
But don't. Everybody's saying they'd be sad, but don't worry, he'll come back in the next episode, right? That's what they.
I mean, we got Aurene back.
Yeah. He'll be the Norn dragon. He'll replace Jormag. There we go.
Oh God, could you imagine? Who are we gonna have Timey replace?
Oh. She's gonna fix. She'll. Who's the one?
He's dying
Dessa?
too, so I don't think.
I know.
We put her in. She now takes control of the mist. She'll be time locked there and stay fine forever. Boom. There you go, ain't it?
Wasn't that supposed to be Blish though?
Was it?
Kinda, sorta.
Did they say they were gonna put him in the?
Did he get time locked? Because he did that explosion thingy.
Yeah.
But is
I know
he
that-
actually locked?
I don't know if he's time locked or not. I was kind of being facetious and silly. Sorry.
No, but that's a good question. I don't know if he's actually dead.
Yeah. I mean, the mist is a funny place.
Hmm.
The mist is the catch-all, save point of what happened. It's like dragon magic in the mist. It's like, meh, writes it out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, we'll know soon here, November 19th. So episode 1. But yeah, I'm curious to see. Hopefully, like you guys said, if the Bone Skinner's gonna be the next strike mission, that they don't start it out at like as easy as this one. Like, we don't need 2 easy ones that will slowly get harder or something.
Yeah.
Especially with the name of Bone Skinner. I mean, that
It's a pretty
sounds like it
badass
should.
name.
Yeah, it
should
sounds
be.
like it should be messing you up.
Mm-hmm. So I would hope that it would be like its baby mode would be a little bit harder than the baby mode for the Icebrood construct, and then the Icebrood construct will get just a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, any other thoughts or speculations on episode 1 stuff?
Dark Souls Bone Skinner boss. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, we're gonna turn the game into Dark Souls. While I think it would be interesting, sorry to be the reality, but I don't know the likelihood of that.
That'd be kind of cool though, because they have
Oh,
a
it
lot
would
of
be.
different. They have a lot of cool different bosses that could be Dark Soul bosses.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I wouldn't say don't hold your breath on that one. But
Don't do it, Age.
well, Age, I need you for the rest of the podcast. We'll probably get banned if you faint on stream or something. I'm sure that's in Twitch's guidelines. Stop it. And besides, don't get in a tizzy and work up an appetite.
don't you dare!
I knew it. He was looking for a segue.
Yeah, I was trying to find something there, but ugh. But yeah, there apparently ArenaNet is now has a partnership with Quiznos to celebrate the launch of the Icebrood Saga. They started sending out emails to some Guild Wars 2 players, but they're partnering with Quiznos this November to provide all of us with a bundle of items in celebration of the Icebrood Saga journey. basically go to Quiznos and purchase your favorite sub, because we all have one, and you'll receive an Icebrood Saga Heroes bundle containing an account-bound mini Icebrood Saga Ogre, an item booster, a karma booster, and an experience booster, and a 10-slot bag.
A 10-slot bag.
Yeah,
that kind of makes me sad. Why not a 20-slot bag?
This is
are Quiznos like sandwiches only 10 inches long? I don't know. Is there like something like weird like?
It's for new players, not for us.
I guess. Yeah, they're not giving them a character booster, level 80 boost.
Yeah,
so the emails are supposed to be containing a serial code that you can use.
I have to go to Quiznos.
Okay.
It's probably on your receipt or something.
Yeah, and it also says you also receive a code for $10 off Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire Standard or Deluxe Edition, and apparently only available at Quiznos locations in the United States and Canada for the month of November. So, I mean, we were talking about before the show was a lot of the Quiznos closing down. Like, I'm curious because so many people are saying there's so few Quiznos around. I'm curious how many Quiznos are outside of the U.S. and Canada. Itself.
Because their currency conversion, which is kind of funny, their currency conversion for this on their blog post is in dollars, euros, pounds sterling, and rubles. But they're only in Canada and the U.S. So where's the Canadian dollar conversion?
Well, and that's the interesting thing. It says it's only there for the month of November. Are they planning to? Are they going to have two separate ones? Since it always seems like it's a problem that when they have other giveaways, the U.S. and Canada are like grouped together. And
right. Yeah, they do always do NA and then EU gets screwed.
It's maybe in November it's just going to be U.S. and Canada, and because it's just interesting they said for the month of November. Like, are they? Is December going to be EU time? Like,
no, I just put that in there because it said November 1st to 30th, so I'm like, month of November. But yeah, it's not bad. People get a free product.
Can the 10-slot bag at least be like look like a Quiznos bag or something? Make it interesting to have in your inventory. Like, because everybody's saying they're keeping their 20-slot Halloween pail.
Special art. I would like to see that Q logo whenever I open my character's inventory.
You would use that bag?
No, man. I might throw it on a lobby and then just.
I would link it all the time in Divinity's Reach. Be like, yeah, got this.
The Quiznos t-shirt outfit. That could be good.
But it's pretty much for new players, or kind of get new people.
It just seems so out of nowhere.
They're all out of nowhere.
And I guess because they're not doing the level 80 boost as part of the Icebrood Saga Heroes bundle, then you would have more use for carrying around a 10-bag slot for a little while you're leveling.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're not going to be 80, so here's a 10-slot bag.
Right, you're not going to be 80. You're not going to have access to scrolls and tomes to level yourself up. So here you go. Have fun leveling. I mean, the leveling experience is not bad in this game. So
now since they're saying Path of Fire Standard and Deluxe Edition, that's not the new bundle that's grouped together. Like, this won't come with HOT for the people.
It should. Because
you buy Quiznos?
If you're getting but if you're buying Path of Fire,
you're gonna get the $10 off Guild Wars 2 code, but they've now changed the bundles where it lumps them all together. So does it?
Yeah, you get,
because Path of Fire gets you HOT and the base game.
Yeah, so you get everything now.
So you get everything.
Oh, okay. Hey, I've seen a lot of streamers. We've hosted a couple in the past that been free to play characters, but like, hey, go out and get yourself a Quiznos sandwich. Boom, you're already $10 towards.
I mean, they could have gone the route of like Major League Baseball and partnered with Taco Bell. Those are like everywhere. I don't know. This is an odd one. Okay.
Yeah, I but like you guys said, and I think like chat was saying, it's well, not any of all the promotions were kind of like out of nowhere. So, like I think we were talking about before the show. I was hoping that Quiznos would have like some kind of weird specialty sandwich to go along with it. Like, oh well.
Yeah. Josh brings up doing Twitch drops and why they don't do that, like the Prime loot. I'm kind of surprised they haven't tapped into that already. I mean, I know that there were talks about it internally. It never seemed to materialize.
That's
well, I've brought that up so many times because I like it with Warframe. I mean, ESO does it. You know, there's loads of games that do it, but yeah, I think Twitch drops are just really great.
I wonder what what kind of cut Twitch wants, or what sort of agreements, you know, what restrictions they have on the games. But I mean, if you want to grow your game, why not do it through Twitch and drop that way? It just seems like
to me, it sounds like there's a restriction they don't want to do. There's just something there that won't let them go 100% for it, or that they have to give up.
So. Yeah.
Which I know if they are considering it, I don't know. I'm sure they're looking at like cost versus, you know, like you're saying, the cut of whatever Twitch is wanting to take. But like I also see chat also bringing up ESO and Warframe, and I've always liked the Warframe one. I don't know how much the ESO one does it because I haven't really used it all that much. But Warframes is, as long as your Warframe account's linked to your Twitch, anybody that plays it and streams it, if someone's watching and you get an achievement, I think it sends you like a random, like, it'd be the equivalent of a Guild Wars 2, like a booster, like little booster buff thing. But it makes people want to go watch like maybe a new player or something like that. Whereas then there's the partner streamers that get a little bit more toys and tools, you know, stuff like that. But I like the idea that it also rewards anyone that streams, because I know a lot of games will go, well, it's just for our partners, and it's like, well, that's great and all, but you know, if you want more people playing your game or have more eyes on it, the best bet is to have at least some kind of feature for anyone walking in.
Yeah.
Oh, and chat saying Smite does it and did it well. I am not familiar with Smites, but
it's just drops for like probably currency or something.
Okay. But yeah, I know we've talked about that many times in the past, and hopefully eventually maybe they'll come around. And because did they even do streams on Mixer? Like I think they're
they're introducing drops or what their equivalent.
Well, no, I meant okay. Well, then they're gonna have their own feature, because I was gonna say, no, I was talking about ANET with their, like, because they don't stream to Mixer for like guild chats or anything. It's just Twitch and Twitch and YouTube, and then they just,
I don't know if they have the presence on Mixer.
And that's why I'm wondering, is like, I was just trying to think of something that would withhold them from trying to do it on Twitch, but yeah, I agree. I think the Twitch drop would have a good impact on viewer base, but they do Facebook.
I mean, okay. the one thing they've never really been super solid at is having the numbers on their streamers. Either having streamers that pull in big numbers. Like currently right now we've got Teapot, who's not taking semi-break off of Classic. I'm not exactly sure, but he's back in Guild Wars 2 and he's pulling in 463. Roy's up there with 184. And it's like, you drop off after your big streamer, everyone else drops into the double digits and sometimes low. Most of the time low. So it's getting eyes on the game, but I think that could be one way to incentivize people to check out Guild Wars 2 streams more. But yeah, I don't know.
Or Aaron's in chat talking about his favorite game, Fallout 76.
Fallout 76, yeah, he's big into that right now.
I know. Look, he's talking about the more average. He always has to chase the viewer count. Jeez. With the quality game Fallout 76. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we still have a lot to go through. But let's talk about Extra Life itself. All the stuff that they kind of announced during it. But I think currently they're at over $57,000. Do remember, if you do log into Guild Wars 2 between October 25th and November 4th, you will automatically receive an achievement and the title The Extra Life, if you already haven't in 2018. Also, once they hit their first fundraising goal, which they already have, $10,000, an in-game event will begin within the hour and last until 10 a.m. Pacific time on November 11th, which will give you plus 5% magic find, 5% experience from all sources, plus 3% War Reward and PvP reward track progress. And then also every $10,000 above that we'll basically add another stack onto that. So we're sitting at 5 times that amount. So 25% more magic find, 25% more experience, 15 for reward tracks. So, pretty good to... And but yeah, I mean, kudos to ANET and stuff for everybody over there that worked their butts off to get that $57,000. That's, and everybody that donated.
They generally do pretty well with donations with Extra Life, and they're going till just a couple more days, November 4th, I think. So it's always for a good cause. I know that, I don't know, they've allowed this year, which I think is new, the ability to join as a sub-team streamer off of the ArenaNet team.
I did see
so that you could, which I thought was neat this year. I'm not sure how many people are actually streaming or if they're just playing or what. I see Jebro is actually doing Extra Life stuff right now.
By the way, if anyone wants that title, just convert some 30 gold to gems and buy a booster. That's it.
Yeah, that'll allow you to get the booster in the blue colored text, I believe, because I think the Extra Life one normally
is just
a white.
Yeah, it's just like a normal title.
But yeah, you could either get the bundle, which I think we'll talk about in the gem store, that has the Arene Mini or something like that. But I think at a lower cost, they have just the regular booster.
That Arene Mini is cute. I like the little halo that they threw on her.
Mm-hmm.
It's called an Extra Life booster, I think. Extra Life Karma booster. You should be able to see it right away.
Yeah.
Or just search Extra Life in it. Should pop up.
You have to look at other players, Killy, in order to see it. I have seen players running around with the blue title. You can't actually see it on yourself because when you turn on your own titles, they're always white. I don't know if it reveals on WW.
It'll show up in blue in your hero panel.
Okay. But not if you turn on your titles to see them yourself.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't do that.
I don't do it either, but I know when I hit the alt button to show it, they've always just been white. And I think that's what I was hearing from other players as well that actually have the blue title.
Does it reveal more Westworld? If titles are revealed more Westworld, I assume so. I work hard for my 5 days, so we can't afford. I'll loan you 30 gold. You pay me back next year. That way,
go farm silver waste for a day. You'll make it back. You can pay age back quickly.
Yeah, well, you're telling him he has to farm, silver waste. Going away from his tier 1 fractals or something.
Stop it.
It's
oh god.
He would need a completely different build. It would be so many clicks to switch it out, right? That's what they said, like loads of clicks. But luckily, they, this past Tuesday they gave us build templates, and it was perfect. It was great, no problems, right? We just move on. There was no issues.
No, man.
No.
Everything comes with bugs.
So yeah, unfortunately, this past Tuesday, build templates came out, and yeah, it didn't come out flawlessly, which I did grab some screens when I was messing around with it. You can see some of the pricings and stuff like that. But yeah, so remember equipment templates. You can swap between armor and weapon sets. You get 2 for free per character. You can purchase up to 4 additional ones per character. You have the linked equipment, which items can be equipped in more than one equipment template. Items that have been equipped in at least one template will display a link in the upper left corner of their icon. Legendary upgrades can also be customized separately in each equipment template. Build templates, you can swap between traits and utility skills pre-populated with PvE, War We Road, and PvP builds. Also build storage, which is in one of the screenshots, the ones you kind of see on the side there. It's account wide. You can store copies of builds that you see from other people that have linked them. You do get 3 for free per account, and if you do go in the gem store currently, you can get three additional ones for free in the gem store. And I think in total you can purchase up to 24 slots per account. And then, as I was talking about before, the build links and all that stuff. But we've kind of talked about this at length. I have you guys gotten to try it, and also, what are some of the issues that arose from all that? It's
Age, you want to go first?
I'll be short, if anything. So
okay.
So my experience was the day before I unequipped all of my gear on all my characters on all my accounts because I didn't want to risk anything. And then I went back in and I went on my EU account first and I started to put things back on and I checked it. And I'm like, oh, okay, it looks good. And I just went on my main account, put everything back on. And then I did not configure anything else because I don't want to use them. And I'll go into that later, but that was my experience. So
yeah, I equipped the build. The trait part of it is pretty straightforward, and I think what most people were expecting. I think the surprise has been in what happens with the equipment side of it, the gear side of it, with infusions popping out, sigils popping out, not showing it, or when you wanted them to be there, legendary equipment being not as convenient as you would think it should be. And that has triggered a lot of people for that part of it. I think the main thing, I think the main thing that has caught a lot of people off is the price point, which you think 300 gems for what is it, the build part, and then 500 for the storage part. You think that wouldn't be too bad, but when you start to do the math, if you want to gear it across all of your classes or max out your account, basically, you're talking in the hundreds of dollars for templates. Yeah. And I think that's not good. That's the thing that's the thing that has literally annoyed me the most, because as a player who was holding out on doing ARC templates, I installed ARC templates, as I usually do these things, within the past few months, and just used them on one computer, not even both. They were pretty easy. It would change out your traits, change out your equipment, change your stats, and worked pretty seamlessly. The point with this is that having legendary equipment shouldn't be a hindrance, where now people are saying, well, I've got it it's going to be more convenient for me to have ascended gear or exotic or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're having legendary gear, as Aged has a lot of legendaries, and you're wanting that convenience because it has that stat swapping, and you're making this be more of a bar, I guess, that just, it's so counterintuitive that I'm like, no, why do this? I don't understand the decision behind it. And part of it, well, I've heard people say, well, it's coding is hard. Yes, but at the same time, it's like, if this is, you know, that this is in your game, can you find a way to make it work when your third party app that was out there for free was doing it without issue?
I mean, first off, I do want to say, and I said this before, from looking at it and now actually trying it, I still, and I agree with what you guys are saying and what chat's saying, is it definitely does seem like too many moving parts, like it's overcomplicated for this, just almost feels like the sake of it. Now, on a separate issue, I don't mind the pricing. I mean, we finally found the pricing that was what is it exactly? I mean, we'll quickly go over it in the gem store, but just since we're talking about it, what is it? The build template one is 300 gems a tab. The equipment template, which they did say was going to be somewhere between, they were considering pricing it between bag slots and bank storage type, like those types of things. So 500 gems.
500.
It is one of those ones where it's like, I think that is the company pricing, whereas I would have liked to have seen them around 400. But in reality, like, I always lowballed even the mount skins, and then they brought them out at a higher rate. But I think that's like in the wheelhouse that we've seen from Arena in the past.
So yeah, for me,
I mean, considering this is taking server space, I get why they did 500 gems.
Yeah, but for me, it'd be, I said these price points, but like in bundles. Like you get 3, like what is it? You get up to 6 equipment ones. So I was gonna say, like, you get, I don't know, like 2 for 500 type of deal, or something like that. But yeah,
no, it's a per slot price, which is sad panda times.
Yeah. It's I know some people, I've already said, like, I don't need to use them, I have character slots, things like that. But I think the overcomplication of build templates was very apparent in that first blog post that they put out. And then, like, just actually using it is just a hindrance and stuff. And I've said a bunch of things like that people have been addressing, such as, like, I have a build and I have an equipment template and I use them both at the same time. That's a pairing. So, like, they want a button so they can quit swap just both at the same time.
Right.
And then I found that there was an odd discrepancy of giving 3 build templates and only 2 equipment templates, when most people, or literally everyone, probably does a 1-to-1 ratio on that.
Right, exactly.
So it's very weird to me. I think the system is just, I think, like, the actual mechanics of it, things is working for besides all the bugs, but I think it's just overcomplicated. And if they honestly wanted to monetize it, I still think they can make it simpler, but also monetize it with, like, armory, whether it be character bound or account bound. Just have that as the convenience item, and then have start off with 20 for free, and then if people want to buy more, they buy more. I feel like it's,
I mean, I would say I've seen a lot of people suggest that stuff. I would have liked to have seen, if we're gonna come up with, like, new, at least new pricing model, I wouldn't mind seeing, like, build template and equipment templates being like 100 gems, so you could, like, maybe actually reasonably, I think, get those at a in-game rate, like maybe if you're a dedicated player, like, easily in a night, but maybe a casual player could get it within a week or something. Because both of them would be the equivalent of a living story chapter, so 200 gems. Now, like you said, the build storage, I wouldn't mind that have been the 800 gems or something like that, where that's the convenience thing. If you want to save bag space,
Yeah.
you get these things, but
Now, mind you, you don't even have to equip your equipment into the equipment tabs. You can still do the manual swap. It's what we've been doing for 7 years if you weren't using ARC's templates for the past couple of years. And it works still.
Yeah.
So you can do the manual swap.
I like it works still. That would have been amazing if they were like, we disabled that feature. Like, wait,
right?
what?
I mean, they took away.
Just in case if someone just tuned in, they didn't do that.
No. They took away the auto swapping of your PvP and WW templates.
That was irritating.
I can see being triggering for people who play those modes often.
Yeah, I have my necro build I was testing is probably gone. My thief builds I remember, so it's fine. But all the off characters I play I don't play anything else but thief and Warlord's World, and PvP I play like maybe 3-4 other classes. So those builds are gone pretty much. So that sucks. But it wasn't horribly hit.
A couple of things are happening because the community, apart from their outrage, is pretty innovative. So people started sharing around spreadsheets that they were using to save their chat codes for their builds so that they wouldn't have to just rely on the limited build storage tabs. There is a new ARC DPS plugin that lets you save build called BuildPad, which you can get information on at Reddit. And that came out about a day ago, which looks pretty sweet. They've kind of used the same UI-ish of how the inspect of the builds looks like in game. And all it does is it just saves a chat code that you can then just store your builds in there. So if 24 builds is not enough space for your account, this might be a solution for players. And then you can just load the code into your build storage and then load it up and start going.
And as long as it's an off storage thing, because we have it in our community corner. We're going to talk about it later, but like you said, I think it saves it off site, so it's basically the same equivalent as having a notepad open, so that shouldn't be a problem for their terms of service, because that I mean, in the end, once again, it's always at your own risk. But
Delta was asked if he was going to continue support or development of the build templates, and he said no, because he can't, or at least he can't share it out publicly. They asked if he would,
because I think they were even saying maybe for himself or
right. He was saying that maybe for himself he would continue development, but that he wasn't sure. But I do know that, what was it, last weekend was it, that people started panicking that they were getting that permaban wave, or not permaban, but that ban wave came out. And there was speculation on whether or not it was from people using unofficial ARC DPS build templates in their ARC build. And ended up being not even related. It was for PvP. But so there are links out there that are floating around, just not publicly.
Just that's the important thing, and just be careful.
So kind of use at your own risk, basically, as always with these third-party things.
And don't be surprised when, don't go on Reddit and be like, I just was wrongfully banned, and then all of a sudden comes to light that because, and I think that's what we even talked about when that story broke, was like, I don't want to instantly disbelieve the person, but because I think one of the reports was, I haven't played for 3 weeks or way before all this template stuff came out, and all of a sudden I'm banned when I returned, and it's like, usually there's more to it, and surprise it was the whole PvP trading your account thing, and it's like, oh, that must have slipped your mind in the discussion of this. And I see people in chat saying they're willing to get banned over it. Okay, that's your
You
decision.
say this now.
Yes, but if you're going on Reddit to create a ragey remark about it, just remember back to this. It was your choice. It was all like, but that's how all MMOs, games in general. You don't own the thing you're playing. I hate to break it to people.
How dare you, Deo?
I know.
A thief is mine. Else owns it.
Maybe they'll send you can Arena whenever. And I know some people on Reddit, Guild Wars 2 is ending next month or something. But whenever Guild Wars 2 fades away, can you send like the code for Thief like framed to Age just so he can always have it close to him?
There will be a statue made in my honor in Guild Wars 3.
Are we gonna get a Guild Wars 3? Do we know that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Guild Wars Mobile, right?
God no.
Oh,
We
please.
all have phones.
No, please don't even joke about that.
Well, it's BlizzCon season. Let's bring that meme back out, right?
BlizzCon's going really well.
Yeah.
It is, actually. We can talk about it after, but yeah.
But yeah, it's in the end, just be careful with all that stuff out there. But any other thoughts on the build template thing? I mean, it sounds like we're all in kind of agreement that we're not a fan of this. The system seems a little convoluted and a little like.
Yeah, I get where they're trying to go for in terms of flexibility, but I think they needed to take a more simplistic approach with this.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing.
Yeah. Did you see that thread that was rolling around Reddit? Someone did a mock-up of a UI redesign that would have allowed, or what they were proposing was having like drop-down menus for game modes so that you could select where you were playing and then what build you wanted to load up, and just do a really simplified UI basically.
I would have much rather have the game detect which mode I'm in, and then it loads the template based on that.
I mean, it obviously the client can do it because it was doing it.
Yeah. So it would just load all the World vs. World builds that I'd saved, and then I could choose from that rather than the drop down.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you want that flexibility of changing things on the fly. I guess I don't know. But yeah, drop down is not a bad idea. Having a filter for professions is also not a bad idea either.
Yeah.
Which I found that was one thing that was lacking as well. Honestly, I just much prefer if the account storage was the actual build template that held both equipment and your builds, and that was it. Honestly, the loadouts, I guess, are okay, but I feel I don't personally. I'm speaking for myself, so I don't think I'll be like hot swapping all that often.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just be more like, I guess in a raid scenario that would be more convenient.
Yeah.
But like, or maybe not even maybe in PvP too before a match starts. But in World vs. World, I probably like take my time to think about something I want to swap anyway. So
right. Yeah, the ability to change your build on the fly in raids, which is the mode that I play the most, is the thing that I was really looking forward to, and so that I could get out of the manual swap world, because I was holding out. Like all my raiders were like, "Why are you holding out? Just use ARC templates." I was like, "No, I'm waiting for the official solution." And then the official solution came, and now I'm like, please.
Well, I would say, how many different, out of curiosity, how many different like gears do you switch? Like, I guess different roles do you have throughout the raid?
I main chrono. I have like 8
builds
on my one chrono. depending on obviously what comp we're using, what boss we're on. Because I tend to do boon share, but I will go DPS sometimes if we're running like a fire brigade comp, or if we just need some other scenario, someone else is on chrono and I can go to DPS. But yeah, so I've got a lot of gear in my chrono's inventory. She's the character that would benefit the most, I think, from the equipment templates.
Yeah, usually every time I've heard someone bring up like they have so many, it's usually because they're a chrono. Like it seems like chrono's the one that was hit the worst. But
yeah,
it's either the general case is chrono, but I think in most cases is if you are a main on a profession, you have a ton of builds.
Or if you are frequently going between the different game modes. Like I know players who are frequently in WW and will also raid and are also heavy multi-classers. So the ability to have lots of builds saved 24 is like they're trying to like figure themselves out now. Like not only that, but then having the ability to switch seamlessly between their legendary gear that they had this convenience on, and now it's sort of like not inconvenient or not convenient. So
so just for me, I have a world versus world build on my thief. If I do fractals, I usually swap to necro, and I just use my raid build for that. My open world story build is my world versus world build pretty much. Farming build, I have like a firebrand for that. So I have technically different characters for different things. I have like 3 thieves that have specific professions. So I have one for raiding, one for PvP, one for world versus world / PvE.
Yeah. I think, I mean, we talked about this before, like the appeal now for just buying extra character slots and having different tunes for specific things is higher now, I think, for players who want to do the multi-classing and the
especially
multi-game
because
mode.
if you have previous story stuff, you could go and use that character to farm keys in those certain spots. Like it might be more beneficial to have get a new character slot, make a new character. You probably if you are one of these players, you probably have enough tomes.
Yeah, I didn't make those characters just like for those specific purposes. I made them because I wanted a certain thief and I wanted a human female meta thief.
Right.
And then I had a second warrior for a meme. And
warrior.
And I had no, it was like a whole joke with Bog, and it was like years ago. Cool. And then I have a second guardian that's a meme with Peachy, because like back in the day, she always used the retreat shot, so I made a guardian called Retreat. So yeah, I have one of every character, and every second one has like just either a joke or I wanted it. So
yeah, I mean, I'm an alcoholic and I have basically 2 of every profession. So I don't like stack my Mirage gear on my chrono because that would be really, really painful.
So you just have one for Mirage,
I have one for Mirage, one for Chrono, one for Soul Beast, one for Druid, etc. One Reaper, one Scourge. Yeah, it just goes like that. But yeah, no, for the characters that I play the most, especially the Chrono, the gear templates would have been a saving grace, and I would have reclaimed a lot of inventory space. But yeah, it's I'm not gonna, I think, invest in any templates. I say I think because you never know, I might just give in one day and be like, I can't deal with this anymore, I need my space. But as of right now, no, I'll just stick with what is there and I'll manually swap and things will just continue on. And maybe I'll load in this build pad thing that will help with my switching a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts from the build templates themselves?
I'm good.
I'm good.
And I'm still gonna, like I said, I'm still gonna wager, like, because I know a lot of people say the amount that we're getting isn't a lot. I'm wondering if it's gonna pan out like we've had with the bank storage. I've said this on previous shows where we had like what 10, and then there was like one day they had a patch where like we added 2 more tabs. Like, hopefully that increases over time as they get to play around with the code and figure out.
And Shaman data mined that they actually have it so that you can have 10 loadouts. They've got it in the, I think it's in the client already, or at least it's in the code. So rather than nice. 6. So we'll see if that ever gets implemented.
They have to do bundles in that case, because like it's just too expensive buying one at a time.
Yeah,
it's just to fill out 10 slots.
Right. I think. Yeah.
But that'd be kind of cool, because that would solve a lot of people's issues. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention. I think I saw something in patch notes about linking gear to, like, duplicating gear to other equipment templates. So I think that's also a legendary issue people had.
Has that been hotfixed now?
I have no idea. I'm not using it, so I can't tell. But I think it'll work with Ascended Armor too. So if you have one set of Berserker gear that's Ascended and you want to use it on a different template, you can probably mirror that. I think there was like a link thing on the loadout tab or something.
Okay.
But
yeah, I was watching Roka stream yesterday while I was at work. And because he'd been pretty supportive of the idea of monetizing it. And when he started playing around with it and started seeing the clunky design, he was like, no, why? And I was like, yeah, man, that's what we were trying to tell you. It's not good.
I have no problem with them monetizing it. I just like, it needs to be not clunky, right?
So. Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's kind of where we're sitting, is the system doesn't feel good for a player, but we don't mind the monetization. I personally would like to see a little bit lower, but that's from a side of this would be a great deal for a consumer, but that's not how a business works. So
and bundles, people will buy bundles, I guarantee you.
People buy the bundles of the mount packs, so I would think that they would do the same for the thing. And they threw in that 2K bundle of build templates, equipment templates, and heroic boosters, and and something else, a makeover kit.
Yeah,
I think it's what it was, and I was like, that's odd, but okay.
Yeah, wait, so that's, I mean, like, if you just wanted the equipment templates are 500, build templates are also 500. And so you're getting a build a storage expansion for free, heroic booster for free, makeover pack for free.
Yeah.
So you save 400 gems, which isn't, for me, it's like, I don't want those things. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a bundle for the templates, give me a bundle of the templates and without the useless stuff.
Yeah.
But some other stuff from the patch notes. Basically, kind of the usual stuff like general fixes, like little bug fixes. Like, for example, fixed an issue with Extra Life's event donation amount to be displayed incorrectly in game. Fixed a client crash that occurred when players attempted to paste a chat link not related to build templates in a build storage space or a build template tab, which I guess leads also to the thing of, before you generate or go too far away from build templates, was when these things dropped, this broke like the servers, like it.
Yeah.
Everything was just like.
I'm surprised that one got through. That the pasting a link not related to build templates. I'm actually a little surprised by that one. Because you would think
people just didn't try it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. Because you would validate if, like, that's sorry, I'm a programmer. It's go on.
But Also, some stuff from the patch notes for professions. Generally, superior rune of antitoxin. They fixed a bug that could cause this rune to remove more conditions than intended. Also, fixed a bug that could cause the rune to trigger when conditions expired naturally. Ranger changes. Yeah, this. Counter fixed a display bug with the duration of the blocking effect. And also for Thief, Deadly Ambition, the internal cooldown of this trait has been increased from 5 seconds to 10 seconds in PvP only. And the stacks of poison have been decreased from 2 stacks to 1 stack in PvP only. And also Debilitating Arc fixed an issue that prevented players from rolling backwards when they used this skill while in the air. The initiative cost of this skill has been increased from 4 to 6 in PvP only. So, yeah, more Thief nerfs. Thank you, chat. Woo!
Yeah, it sounded like Condi Dodge was coming back with Deadly Ambition nerf. So, that's funny. The rolling thing just seems like that's a good fix because, like, you don't want to jump in the air and roll because, like, because you probably want to jump dodge and then you press that button to roll back. But anyway, it's fine.
But yeah, do people use the rune of antitoxin a lot?
Isn't it used in World v World?
It sounds.
Maybe that's why I don't use it a lot.
I think it's a
okay, yeah, chat saying
it's a rune that it's used in WW for Zerg play.
Scrap.
Yeah.
So you can cleanse your friends.
It's a lot of remove condition damage, reduces condition duration, and the 6th bonus is incoming condition cleanses, remove an additional condition.
Oh wow. Yeah, that
does
sound pretty good in World v World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's no cooldown on this. What? Oh man.
Yeah, Killian is saying that it is pretty good in World v World.
It's really good. That should have like a 10-second cooldown at least.
But yeah, I agree. That should probably have some, because even Chad's saying it basically killed, any Condi Zerg play, like.
Which I am not sad about.
Hey.
Let's be honest here. Condi was a mistake.
Condi bombing in WW is oh my god.
I heard you.
I know you did.
Because it only cleanses your condition. Yeah.
Okay.
I might give that a try. Might be nice.
But we were talking about during the build template stuff, the issue that people thought it was ARC DPS triggering all the banned accounts and stuff like that, and it turned out to be PvP like account trading. And well, along those lines, a Reddit post came up about an account that was flagged for real money trading, and it basically a weird way of how it flags it. So the story behind it was the user bought a chat confusion from another player via GW2 exchange. The two players used a trusted third party as a mediator to trade items. Eventually the user got the email saying their email was changed. They contacted support to get an answer, and their account was flagged for real money trading due to the chat confusion was bought by someone for real money and had been traded until it ended up on the individual's account. The user then got their chat confusion removed, so they were out basically 20,000, which they said they were fine with. But then the user asked if their account will be okay. Support basically replied that their account will be flagged as involved in real money trading, even though the user did not buy anything with real money. So, and this is just reported by the person on Reddit, so there's no other
That's
side, but
yeah.
it's
It's
interesting.
interesting because like I understand why support did it because like avoiding the actual flow of money trading is by trading through various accounts till you want it to land on the account that you want it to stay on.
Yeah,
That's how he got flagged in the first place. Um, but honestly, it's like if you don't do real money trading in the future, you're not going to get banned or anything. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
and
But
like
it
and that I was gonna say, and that's why chat's saying like, so it wasn't there as they're saying cursed item, but I saw that as like an issue with Warframe with their premium currency that can be traded between people is if people if it is, I guess let's say the cursed premium currency and someone trades it, eventually they'll remove it from that person's account, and you'll have basically in that case you'll have a negative deficit. So basically you have to pay money to get it back to normal. At least that was the case, I think a year ago or something I
that's
heard about.
pretty funny. What if you just
Yeah,
never paid
that's
it?
well, that's the thing. It was traded, but then they found out that that was the illegal stuff. But the person was like, "Well, I gave him like a thing to trade, like it was a
Yeah.
legitimate trade on their end." But yeah, it's one of those weird things that
But
I
if
think
you're in a sorry,
no,
I
no, go
just
ahead.
want I just want to ask real quick. If you're in a deficit, what if you just don't like get out of the deficit? Why do you just play the game without buying platinum?
I think in this case, and like I said, it was like a year ago when I saw this post. Was in their case, your account was locked until you actually paid that amount
Oh,
like out of it. So
wow. Okay. Damn.
if I'm not mistaken, but like I said, it's been a while. But you were gonna say something, Miko?
No, I was just saying I was looking
Oh,
through the Reddit post about this chalk infusion. Sam Ayese, who's one of the mods, he's also well known on Twitter and Reddit in the community. He's one of the mods over at GW2 Exchange, and um, he said that they were going to contact customer support at ArenaNet to get an official stance so that they can add it to the subreddit's info section on getting things like this flagged for RMT, since
Hmm.
they try to make sure that their trades are above board and not RMT.
Which is
Um,
good. Yeah.
yeah.
So like it's very interesting because it's like either the mediator account was flagged or the chalk. Actually, no, the mediators wouldn't could have possibly gotten flagged too, just because they get the chalk egg and then they give it to that person who bought it. So that really, yeah, that actually sucks for them too, because if you are supposed to be the mediator who gets the items and gives it to the right person, the item that you get could be potentially flagged as RMT bought item, and then your mediator's account gets flagged,
Right.
and that causes a problem as well. So
And I know other players who will do trading of items in game, um, and will use guild banks as the mediator. So it's direct, well, semi-direct player to player via the guild
hmm.
bank that both can deposit and withdraw from, or withdraw from, as the case may be, to ensure and get around the gold cap, for example, via
okay,
mail.
Yeah.
huh?
And that's
So
the important thing to note is, once again, like I said before, is this is just from one's, this person's side of the story. We don't, once again, like we said with the uh ban
Yeah.
wave that everybody thought was our DPS, we were like,
Yeah.
like you said, they
Honestly,
were going to try to contact customer service to see if they could get like some kind of, uh, at least maybe hear their side, get a
mhm.
statement from them and stuff. So,
yeah. Honestly, it's like a standard procedure. I don't understand why it was done. Um, maybe yeah, maybe if you contact support about it, they can get a solution based off of it. Um, but it's just an honest mistake, and as long as you don't actually do real money transactions, you'll be fine.
But yeah, any other thoughts on the real money trading and accounts stuff?
Don't do it.
No, don't do it.
Well, that maybe that's why you can't trade mount skins.
Don't. Why?
What? I
Uh,
wasn't. I mean, while we're here, speaking of mounts, Rock Paper Shotgun had a interview with Mike Z and Joel Helmick, talking about mounts and basically how they were made. And I don't know, I think it's a pretty interesting read. Which I saw that emote in chat,
mm-hmm.
but if you are interested in it, I think it is a pretty good read. They just basically talked about their when they introduced mounts in Heart of Thorns. You know, them working on Path of Fire. Or wait, introduced mounts in Heart of Thorns. What am I talking about? Oh,
No, they
I'm
introduced
tired.
movement skills in Heart of
Yes.
Thorns that were
Ugh,
basically mimicking what
like the
we saw
skills.
later. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
skills.
But and then they started working on it for Path of Fire, but I do have to give them credit. While I'm still not a big fan of mounts, like I didn't think they'd ever really were needed. I know a lot new players that come in, and I do have to agree that I think Guild Wars 2 has probably done the best mounts in an MMO. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not just a
Yeah.
vanity thing. It's
Right.
It's a means of traversing quickly, but also in specific ways, depending on what type of location you want to get to, which
Right.
is very cool. And I think they kind of outdone themselves at a point that if there were any types of ways of traversal that need to be covered, they would just add a new mount rather than uh, do anything else. Because like if you look at everything before Path of Fire, we've had wallows, we've had mushrooms, we've had the things that launch you to the different locations. You've had the vine thing, so you could like Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like ever since we have mounts, it's just been a new mount. So
Yeah.
and like we have all the other old stuff, but it's just been mounts as far as I can tell. I don't think there's any new means of transportation.
No, and I mean the Dragonfall map did a good job of bringing in those old ways of traversal so that you could use those old ways in combination with the mounts, which I thought was a really interesting design, and made me wonder what they might be planning in the future, for kind of marrying those two systems together or helping to make them complementary more
Mm-hmm.
in later maps. So
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think it's a pretty good read if you're just interested. Like we said, gotta give credit where credit's due. That I think Guild Wars 2 has the best mounts in an MMO, and they kind of go into talking about that. But also, I saw it messaged out, but I maybe age can tell me if this is a big deal since, like you said earlier, you're a programmer, you're a coder, but basically Guild Wars 2 just completed its 100th or 100,000th internal game build. So basically the live game consists of 525,000 assets, at least 5 million lines of C++ code, and another 5 million lines of content code, which is like scripting. I mean, is 100,000th internal game builds over what are we at now? 7
years.
Is that like
Um,
insane or?
let's see. So times. It's pretty good, yeah. I mean, I'm just doing quick math here. So for us, it's like I make maybe like one build a day, maybe two. But if these are like actual deployments, it's actually pretty impressive. Because the 525 assets are basically all the images, all the 3D models, things that you see in the game essentially, and then the C++ code is basically everything that makes it all work. So I think it's pretty impressive, and going 100,000 K into builds tells you how many iterations there are made, like just to like test things, try new things that we may have never seen at all, and includes hot fixes too, so that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I say it's good.
Well then, congratulations, Arena and Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts on it? I don't know. There's that much to elaborate on it. But
no, it's more of a milestone, I think.
Yeah. I don't know much about gaming code. I know like very little, but I've worked in C++ before, and for 2 hours for a full build, which is actually really long. I'm not gonna lie, that's really long. So there's a lot of things that build is verifying. So
Yeah.
Well then, here's to 100,000 more.
So 7 more years.
Yeah.
Okay.
All they gotta do is try.
That was a good segue there.
Speaking of trying or a lack of trying, we also saw a Reddit.
You're gonna start helping him. I'm just gonna leave.
For people in chat, but I think it resonates with a lot of people, especially today, or nowadays, where I know a lot of people have been leaving or taking a break or anything like that. But this Reddit user talked about they were taking a break from Guild Wars 2 to play other games, and they kind of learned a few things about themselves and Guild Wars 2. But and I've seen this said a lot in the game difficulty. They were missing this, as they said, the game asking them to try, and they basically were saying they didn't realize how much they missed this, where the game kind of pushes them to their limits, which I know that's been a common complaint I've seen from some people that would say Guild Wars 2 isn't difficult, or that it doesn't try to challenge. But one thing that interests me was they were talking about they feel like the story in the episode takes away from the meaningfulness of the situation. But were you going to say something about the other? Or
I was just thinking about Nike's video. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where he talked about the difficulty of Endgame as compared with other games.
He was talking about
the skill cap, really.
Yeah.
The skill cap of the players being the thing that makes or breaks the difficulty of Endgame.
I remember. Yeah, we were talking about that because I think that's the video where he kind of goes into each of the different end games in Guild Wars 2, because a lot of people just don't think there's a Guild Wars 2 end game.
Right.
And I remember we were talking about that, and that's probably the biggest difference between Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs is other MMOs, they just basically increase the stats on the enemies, and you have to get this new better gear. I mean, if you look at WoW, you have to get tier 23 or whatever they're on now to be able to run the raid okay. Whereas here, it's you have to jump through different types of hoops in this different manner. It's so it it always feels like Guild Wars 2 probably has a tougher time to design a build. But
I think it's just the aspect of trying that kind of made me think that was the case, because what was it, season 2 of Living Story, there were bosses in those fights. They weren't necessarily super hard or anything. It's just that if you died, you didn't continue the fight. You have to start over. And kind of like that feeling of accomplishment when you finish is kind of what I feel is lacking in that department. With story anyway. Even I think even the Balthazar fight, if you died, you just continue, I think.
You just reset.
Do you reset?
I thought it reset the fight.
Does it
resets the fight, I think.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. I just played
unless
through
they've
that
changed
recently.
it, but I'm pretty sure.
I remember if it resets the fight or continues.
I think when it first came out, it reset the fight, and now it just resets. Because the thing is that they do some like silent changes of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I
or even
put
like
out there that unless they changed something, but I think at launch it was you had to start the fight over. He was at max health, and
okay, yeah.
Which is how the end one works. The final instance of Heart of Thorns. That one resets the fight.
Yeah.
Which that one is slightly painful because you have to go through the 2-hour pre-fights and then you get to the hard part. And
just don't dive.
Just don't die. Go with good builds and you.
Or since it was during launch, as long as there wasn't that glitch that made you just you didn't hit the updraft and then you died. It's like
oh yeah.
So that's the other bad side of that.
Yeah, I've never experienced that. I played day 1 too. But yeah, I mean, like, I think that's what strike missions are going to kind of achieve in this respect, because I think the challenge is what is missing in terms of PvE content that isn't related to fractals or raids. It's just like there's no real challenge, which is okay for most of the time, but sometimes you kind of want to throw something at them. Just just a little something. That's all.
Yeah, and I think if they could. When did the strike mission come? When did Bound by Blood come out?
Middle September 12th or something.
Okay, so we're talking about 6 weeks ish, 2 months by the time the next one comes out. For the strike mission to be at the difficulty level that it currently is that fast enough to have people learn? Or should they, do you guys think that they should try to push out those difficulty tiers a little bit more quickly?
Everyone has a different learning curve.
Yeah.
But like for people who have really low learning curves, it might take them a month or two, honestly. Because I've raided with some people who really didn't get the mechanic. Like for me, it takes maybe like 5-6 pulls, and it's like,
oh, sorry.
You have raided.
But I don't think with you. That was the joke. Anyway,
I have.
You have?
I'm not talking about you, but I have raided with you. But yeah, it's not everything's about you, Dale.
Since when?
But yeah. God damn. But it's just like people have like high learning curves or people have low learning curves. For me, it probably takes a few pulls to understand the basics mechanics, and then it's just like getting it down to a science about getting my rotation in while avoiding mechanics.
Yeah.
Or whereas some people it really doesn't register on that one mechanic because of maybe they don't see it, maybe they're not really paying attention versus like trying to get their DPS and then things like that.
Yeah.
So for some people, it might take them a month to actually get a fight down. And even then it might be like they just narrowly get it, and it might take them a while to actually get it down to a science. So I think a month, 2 months isn't the worst thing in the world to upscale the strike missions over time.
Especially if they're targeting new players.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or PvE players who haven't played much of the end game. Like if their end game has just been in the open world.
Yeah, pretty much. Because those are the types of players who kind of like stay out because they stay out of raids and fractals because they would rather play their own builds than conform to a specific build and learn a rotation and all that stuff. So.
But I mean, I guess the long story short is, for them, I think they sent the message of don't get complacent, just branch out, which, I think a lot of people say that with Guild Wars 2 is if you're bored with the game or in a rut with the game, not feeling the game, go play something else. It's not like a get out of my face type thing. It's a just take a break from something. Everybody needs to take a break from everything. It's not shouldn't be seen as a negative thing. I mean,
and it's easier to take a break. I think for me, it is easier to take a break from this game because I don't have to worry about a sub fee that I'd be wasting if I took a break or play till the end
falling
of
behind.
Right. Because we don't have that gear treadmill, but yeah.
You remind me, I need to play Final Fantasy.
I'm sorry.
Because of that gear treadmill. You're going to fall behind.
Yep.
With that subscription.
I am behind.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I think there's a lot of things that the game could have done. It still has a lot of potential. It just needs to be exploited. So, when the game first launched, I thought dynamic events would be this cool, interesting thing where there would be like a tug of war. So, for example, like in Queensdale, the whole area is focused around humans and Centaur. So if Centaur invaded and they got that little garrison, they would kind of like push in even more.
Right.
And then you would have an event that would, allow you to push back. And then, it would be kind of like a back and forth type of deal, which is much more interesting to me. But it is what it is,
But you've got WW for that.
Kind of.
And I mean, kind of going back to what Miko was saying was you don't have to feel bad about it. From the get-go, that was like I still remember, everybody loves Colin Johansson. It was one of his interviews where they were trying to catch him up in something and saying like something along the lines of like, "Oh, do you think it'll be a WoW killer?" And he just gives that he gives that loving laugh, that smile where he's like, "Yeah, you're trying to catch me in something, huh?"
Right.
And he says he's like, great thing about Guild Wars 2 is you can play WoW and you can have Guild Wars 2 as well. He's like, we don't have a sub. You can come and go as you please. There's not the gear treadmill. I think it's been like that from the get-go. And yeah, I would have loved to have seen the dynamic events more so. I mean, we kind of had an ore and then everybody wanted hearts.
God, hearts.
But yeah, so I think long story short is don't take as a negative that you might have to take a break from this game or any game.
It's okay.
But yeah, you don't want to end up hating fun, right? Right?
God, the segues are on point today.
I know they are really good this week. But there was an article from GameIndustry.biz, basically with ArenaNet's John Hobson, and basically, the article talks about the practice of applying fun scores to games and how it needs to change. So I guess this is more of a general gaming thing, but he's been doing research in the games industry for over 16 years and is currently the head of analytics at ArenaNet. Some of the issues he's seen is basically it stops the conversation. Once you give a game an overall score, the conversation ends. If it's a high score, the team pats themselves on the back and tunes out all the other issues because of how good they did, or how bad it could have been or whatnot. But if it's a low score, the team immediately starts looking for reasons to dismiss the entire study. I mean, basically, you could put this across anything. I've seen this in regular research itself. Like, clearly it's not our fault. But it's not actionable when players say a game isn't fun. There isn't a clear next step based on that statement alone. I mean, we just go into any subreddit, really. And he says, sure, we want the game to be fun. That's what, games are for. But just knowing it isn't fun doesn't dictate a particular course of action. Does that mean it's too hard or too easy? Are players confused or bored? There's you know, as I like that there's no add more fun button. Wouldn't that just be easier? Isn't that right next to the they
I
just
want
need to
more
flick the
fun.
switch?
Yes.
Yeah, they just need
Just
to
press
flick the
the
switch
button.
for the dev stuff. Yeah. But and I do like I've heard this so many times in WoW, like, and they say multiplayer fun doesn't count, which is kind of a bold statement. But that basically he was stating that if your game is only fun when played with fun people, then it's not actually fun. Which for me, and near the end of when I was playing WoW, I was really, and I've heard this so many times, especially with WoW, and I think I've heard it here too. But you're playing because your friends are playing or something like that.
Right.
It's like, well, and that's the thing. Chad is saying, like, games are like art; it's subjective, and I think that's what they're trying to go into is don't just tell me it's fun, or don't tell me it's not fun. Tell me what made it fun. Tell me what didn't make it fun. Like, I think that's the important part.
Yeah, wondering how his analysis or analytics is going to influence the game development at ArenaNet.
Yeah, especially during this time where a lot of people are just saying they're not having fun. So
right. I mean, it's interesting that they've got a head of analytics. I'd like to know what they're going to do with his data.
Yes. I think that's probably the biggest thing that hopefully take away from this is, and I'm hopeful because we talked about last week a lot of the stuff that they were looking into of improving PvP and World wise, and what was it? Ben P was looking at like what people loved about the newer fractals, and so hopefully there's a shift coming. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check it out. But any other thoughts on the article itself?
No, I think for me, it's a wait and see. I think that the analysis is great, that it's out there. It's how the studio then implements or acts on it. That's the real decisive part. And until we see them acting on it, don't know.
But they want you to be playing, so you're in the game, you're having fun, so you can maybe throw some money at the game. That's how they, you want to feel like you aren't forced to spend that money. You want to do it to support them, and you can do that in the gem store. Speaking of the gem store, this week, just like last week, we talked about the Extra Life items. Remember, all proceeds go to Extra Life. The big bundle, the Extra Life donation bundle, is 800 gems, which has the Mini Guardian Angel Arene, the 5 Extra Life Karma boosters, the 5 temporary selfless potions, also the Extra Life Karma. Also, you can get separately is the Extra Life Karma booster, which is 75 gems, which I think is what Age was talking about earlier. If you want to still get credit for the blue text title, the 75 gems is probably the easier route if you're, tight on cash or don't have enough gold to maybe get the 800 gem package. But you were also, I think Miki, you were saying you liked the Mini Guardian Angel Arene.
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, that helmet, and then she gets her own selfless potion, Infinite, right there.
Yep.
But also, of course, we talked about it kind of in the build templates. If you want to look at the images again real quick, but remember, build template expansions are in. So 300 gems for 1 tab. The equipment template expansion for 500 gems for 1 tab. The build storage expansions for 500 gems, which is 3 spaces. Or you can get the build and equipment expansion package for 2,000 gems, which includes 2 build template expansions, 2 equipment template expansions, 1 build storage expansion, 1 heroic booster, and 1 makeover kit, makeover pack, which is a total makeover kit and 5 transmutation charges. Which, once again, as we talked about in the build template thing, the confusion of that random addition, but it is what it is.
that's one that I just kind of like, okay. And I get fashion wars is a thing in this game, so maybe they thought, well, people will be able to change their builds, and maybe they'll want to change their look too.
I'm a condition character now. This gear is just no. It doesn't scream conditions to me.
Okay.
But yeah. I guess I usually ask this on new items. Would either you be picking any of these up? Which I think we kind of covered in the build template section, as we're just not fans of the system. I mean,
I think the pricing, like we were talking about earlier, the pricing needs to be restructured, and the clunkiness needs to be improved, declunkified.
yes. Some returning items: the Noble Count outfit for, also the Lunatic Guard outfit for both 525 gems apiece, which is 25% off. The permanent Scarecrow finisher, the permanent Mad King finisher for 500 gems apiece. The Desert Race Mount Select license is 1,200 gems, this is the one where you actually get to pick any of the mounts from that bundle, or you can take a chance, and the Desert Race Mount Adoption license for 400 gems, or 5 for 1,800, or 15 for 5,100 gems. Which the nice thing is, once you unlock one, you can't get repeats, but it is you are taking a chance on which one you're going to get. But any of the returning items that you guys would suggest? Maybe you have yourself.
I think I probably have the Noble Count outfit already. I don't usually buy finishers because I don't PvP much, so whatever they throw at me for free during Halloween or whatever, it just ends up building up. Yeah. And the mount licenses I don't usually buy. I'll get, so I've had some gifted to me. But yeah. Or I'll roll for like the 2k gems on when they throw them into the Black Lion chests. I'll roll 5 keys. I'm like, I'll try.
I'll say, I think the Lunatic Guard outfit's the one with like the flaming head type thing. It's a pretty cool effect.
Yeah, that one's
so
yeah. Which matches the mount pack. Yes.
Yeah.
The new mount pack is pretty cool with the flames.
Mm-hmm.
Halloweeny.
But any final thoughts on Gem Store?
I do to bow out, guys, because I have a staff meeting to run in 10 minutes.
Oh,
okay.
I
gotta go gather my troops.
Have one more topic, but honestly, we covered the build pad thing already, which was our community corner thing. Which for people in chat, if you want to see it, links are in the description. I mean, it was basically what we said: use at your own risk, of course. But we want to give proper allowing Miko to give her outro. So maybe we'll let her go first, and then I'll arrange cameras.
Sorry, guys.
No, we honestly covered it. Okay. So, but Miko, where can they find you?
Good people can follow me at Inky Sticks on Twitter and Twitch. You can find me also running the social media account for Virtually Interrupted, which is V Interrupted. Yeah, go check out our content. We've got the guide for the Ascended, getting your Ascended crafting boosted up to 500. If you haven't done that yet, what are you waiting for? You can make feasts for your friends of Ascended food. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And yeah, thank you for joining us today. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was awesome. We should definitely have you back more often. And Age, where can they find you?
Twitch and YouTube, Age Night Erd. I have an after hours tonight, so no stream for me. Tomorrow, if I'm conscious, I will try something. That's all.
Stream by build templates.
Yeah, that's
confirmed.
Maybe I will play Guild Wars 2. I haven't actually streamed Guild Wars 2 in a while. So maybe
he's gonna show off all of his thieves.
Yes.
But awesome. Well, we look forward to it. And you find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. But more likely, you can find me here at MAAD Realms, twitch.tv/MAAD Realms. Do stick around if you are just popping in. We do an after show. If you do want to watch us in full, we do highlight on Twitch, twitch.tv/MAAD Realms, 2 A's in the MAAD. If YouTube's your preferred choice, youtube.com/MAAD Realms goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We also do a Warframe podcast on Tuesdays. We also have our own website, maadrealms.com, where this show will go up on Sundays at the same time as the YouTube one releases. But yeah, that is it for this week, and we'll see everybody next time and in the game. Good night, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.